Let's get busy.
We are recording. Podcasting here at Baxter's. It's like same time. You know, what's this thing? Same time next year.
Same time, same station, same
bat
bat channel.
Didn't we just do this?
We just did this, yeah.
Has it,
Where do these
it's
years
already
go?
Been a year.
Can't we use last year's? And just,
We'll edit the date.
Yeah, use last year's and just insert.
Jeff's still here, so that's a win.
No,
Yeah,
I
that
need
is
to
a
talk
plus,
some
yeah.
more.
No one's ever said.
We're here to talk BowmanFest Aviation and Military Heritage Festival. It's happening October 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It was 2 days last year, too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's 2 days.
So we got Pat, Jeff, and Rob. The three amigos, the
Hello.
three, whatever. What do you call this?
Just don't use our last
Superiors,
names.
yeah, that's right.
Don't use our last names.
Oh my gosh.
We're forming our own singing group, actually. Yeah, it'll be great.
And Caroline over there in the lurks. Good.
Always does a great job in reaching out to me, getting me star quality. I mean,
Except for tonight.
Yeah.
Once
Be
again.
careful, guys. She's got the taser with her if we say something inappropriate. So that's
We appreciate you having us on.
yeah. Again, this is what annual is
Our
this? now?
fourth.
Fourth. Yeah. Why fourth? No.
Bigger.
because it follows
and
three.
better.
Follows three.
Bigger and better.
And then-
We couldn't jump straight to 5, so we thought
That's
we'd
a
do
good
4.
point, too.
We're trying to get to 11.
We're
though.
getting to 11. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Is it really? Is that
It's our
your
fourth.
week?
No, we're going. We started 3 years ago to come up 4 now to kind of focus on the 100th anniversary of Bowman Field, which we'll get into. But yeah,
What is
it's
the
fun. It's starting in 1919 is when the field was founded. 1920 is when the airport was started. So 1920.
Ooh, shit.
So next year will be the 100.
Next year.
Yeah, we have a bigger and better. So we look forward to next year too. It'll be
Yeah.
fun.
What's going on this year? You got a lot of shit going on.
We got a lot of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, speak freely. You all can speak freely.
Hey, the short
because I know
version
weren't you
is-
all lit on like Great Day or something?
We were.
Yeah,
So
we
you-
were on
you-
there.
Those 7 no you could say.
Yeah,
them
we
here.
could say, oh no,
We're-
shit pits.
we're adding, man.
Yeah, we're at.
Actually, they said them on Great Day Live, too. They just got bleeped
Yeah,
out.
the beep,
That's
beep,
right.
beep, beep,
That
beep.
seems
Yeah.
better.
no.
But, it's fun to watch what they say that they get bleeped out, from the Great Day Live folks. That's a big thing.
Yeah. No, we've expanded this year. We're twice as big. We got twice as many airplanes. Hopefully,
How
have
are y'all
twice as many
pulling it
people.
off? Because I didn't make it last year. I was actually
that's
very
all right.
pissed off. I don't know if
Yeah, I
was
remember you
under the
talking
weather.
about that.
But the images and stuff, I'm thinking, man, this is just huge.
It's a lot of fucking
Yeah.
work.
And so you're saying this is like twice?
Yeah, we've got twice as much of the field. Hopefully we'll have twice as many airplanes. We're gonna have twice as many people. We got a kid zone this year. We got a 5K on the runway, so we're
We
gonna
got
people are
rock
gonna
and roll.
run down the runway.
Fuck
yeah.
for real, a 5K on the run.
We had rock and roll at night.
I saw that Mary. Yeah, they're badass. So.
Yeah, there's our 5K on the runway. So we're going to have 500 people run Saturday morning from around 8:30 to 9:30, right down the center of the runway.
Jeff's leading them, actually.
Jeff's leading. Yep.
Oh,
Some
he's
people
gonna
say
set
they're
the pace.
chasing him.
I bet
You're the
I'm in a
pace car?
golf. I'm in a golf cart. but
Pace golf cart.
I'm going to make sure everybody finishes.
It doesn't matter. A golf cart works.
Charge of all ground ops. I'll have a vehicle.
So this is starting at 9 before the.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the
it
festival
opens
starts at
at
10
10,
a.m.,
yeah,
right.
so-
And then we go till 6 on Saturday.
With
And then
music after.
Then the concert starts shortly after that. We close the air portion down at 6. Who's ever there can stay, and whoever comes will have we got a $5 parking fee just to cover some of our expenses, but basically free concert. And Mary will start, and then Mood Ring Engagement will finish up, and we'll be finished by 10. Then we start it all over again at 10 the next morning.
Yeah, you'll have a Bloody Mary. You're good to go. Actually, a Bloody Kentucky. and
Bloody
you'll be good to
Kentucky,
go.
that's right.
Not if you were flying, however. That's the only
No.
thing. No, apparently not.
No, then you go straight vodka.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's cleaner in
It's
the system.
cleaner,
That's
yeah,
right. It
it
works
is.
better
That's
that way.
right.
At altitude, it does,
Exactly.
actually.
Let's go back to last year. Give me the highlights of last year. What was it?
I think the special thing we had last year, we had a Ford Tri-Motor. We had an airplane that was nearly 100 years old.
Yeah.
This year, we're going to have a different airplane that's over 100 years old that we didn't have
Are
last
these
year.
spoilers, or you're allowed to say this? Or
No, we can
I'm
tell.
allowed.
Yeah, we're
We actually-
promoting here.
We're actually going to have a Curtiss Jenny that's older than the airfield. That's going to be here on the field, and it's going to be a spectacular airplane. And last year, we had a Ford Tri-Motor. So this year, we have an older airplane. I think the special thing last year, the biggest event that we never even thought about was the C-130. And the fact that we had that C-130 in here was just unbelievable. Since 9/11, people haven't been able to touch those airplanes. They locked down the bases. That airplane's based over at Stanford Field. We were able to get it in here at Bowman, and they had a 2-hour line waiting to get through that airplane.
It was great participation. The 123rd Airlift Wing from the Kentucky Air National Guard, they did a great job. Those they do great things all over the globe every day. People in Louisville don't know that, but that's our those are our hometown boys that are flying humanitarian aid into Africa or military supplies into Afghanistan, doing great stuff.
We work hard to get those airplanes in here, and one of the things Pat's done is, we've reached out to the military, and this is not a military. It's not a military air show. It's a civilian air show with military presence, and we've got a Black Hawk coming in this year. And one of the things I want people to know is, all those airplanes when they come in here, they're ready to go. So if something happens in the world and they need to go, we will move the crowd out of the way and we will launch them on their way so they can go do the mission they need to do. And these airplanes are mission ready. We're going to have a Black Hawk here this year. We're hoping to have the C-130. We're still working on those details. We expect to have it. We'll definitely work our tail off to get that airplane here. But those airplanes need to be ready to go at all times. So whatever flies in here is ready to go.
Yeah, because that's a good point, because these are not just airplanes that are on the shelf or
No.
been in the parking garage for a while.
We did that last year. LMPD helicopter was there, and we had to get people away from it and push him back out so he could take off and go do what he had to do.
Wow.
There's so many cool stories out there that the people don't see. They drive by Bowman Field every day, and they don't think twice about it. They go by Air National Guard and see all those guys working hard, guys and girls working hard. So we work hard each year to put this together so people can come inside the fences, experience it, touch and feel, and kind of see what it's really like. And, for the kids to spend time with some of the veterans, like, Rob and Jeff are both war veterans, and some of the other guys we bring in from World War II.
Salute. Thank you, guys.
Some of the old guys. If we don't do it and put those kids in front of them and tell the message, it'll be lost to time. So we have an honor to do that, and that's why we do it.
Look at it this way.
It's a visual storytelling.
Yeah,
a lot of
really
visual
is.
storytelling.
Yeah.
At that festival, on the 5th or 6th, there could be a kid that ends up walking on Mars someday because they were inspired to be.
Right.
That's
in
a good
aviation.
point.
There's a kid that will fly a transatmospheric vehicle from New York to Tokyo in 30 minutes because they were inspired by aviation there, and people that are going to invent airplanes that we've never even thought of. But unless they're inspired by something, if they can't come out and see it and touch it and feel it,
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Because you are going to make an impression on someone young.
Oh my
It-
gosh.
Yeah.
And that's our future. If we
It's
don't,
incredible.
if we
This is
we
going
own
to
that
be
responsibility.
a life-changing event for someone, and they don't even realize it.
Yeah, and cool. What we try to do is we try to put a mix of airplanes where the kids can come in and touch them and feel them. But we'll have rides available to the public from $35 in a helicopter all the way up to $1,500 for a P-51, which is the World War II 8. That fighter.
Did you all do that last year?
Well, we had a
we didn't
mix,
have
but
We had one. It was not flying for rides. We're going to have one.
Yeah,
this
we'll
year.
have one
That's what I'm
this
saying.
year.
You didn't.
Yeah.
That didn't happen last year. You're really doing.
yeah, the whole
You're taking
gamut.
this.
We'll have the whole mix, and we'll have.
we had the helicopter last year, and
Helicopters
that
last
thing
year.
was. There was a line,
that-
and then people were flying in that helicopter and had the best time.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Most everybody's been in an airplane at one point in time, but you've never been in a helicopter, and it's a completely different
yeah.
experience.
Yeah. And
What kind of experience on the other planes that are available? What is that kind of?
We've got
experience?
low and slow. We've got high and fast. We work hard all throughout the year, and we meet all the time to try to talk. What's the best experience? What can the kids do when they come out and the people? Because, as Jeff was saying, after 9/11, the fences are taller, the locks are stronger, and they don't want out there. And we're gonna, on our watch, we're gonna open the doors, and experience come inside and experience. So that's what we're doing.
What's the logistics like in
Oh, my
that
gosh.
stuff?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
It's a lot.
the team has grown. It's not grown double. It's fourfold. And the amount of volunteers that we have, it's phenomenal. And
insane.
one thing, we're not earning a salary. We do this because we love Bowman Field.
Because Pat makes us.
no,
whip.
he's saying
Me and Caroline
What does
are
he
there.
have on you?
no.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
Let me show you the
don't-
pictures.
show
Hold
me
on.
the-
Here
You
you
do
go.
not want to know. There's no thank
I
you.
tell you what.
No, I do want to know.
Yeah, no.
That's how my
I'll tell you
mind
what
works.
Pat has. And you
We'll
know,
be like,
Yeah.
why are you with this midget?
Hey,
Exactly.
I'm just going to tell you
Exactly.
Chainsaw German Shepherd. Yeah. that
One
guy.
of the things Snort and I, we have a bond because we're a brotherhood, because we're military aviators.
Yeah.
We both flew
That's
in
a good thing.
Desert Storm. We didn't fly together. He was on the Air Force side. I was on the Navy flight. I didn't know him until 5 years ago.
Great.
And now
Yeah.
I got Pat MacDonald over here on my left, who has as much of a passion about aviation as us. He's jumped out of airplanes. He can't get enough of
Because
it.
he's
he
foolish,
just can't
but
get
that's-
enough of it.
Yeah.
And listen, not a single person at this table and a single person that's working on this festival that we have on this grand scale. We're doing it to promote Bowman. Nobody's getting paid for it. All the money's going back to the nonprofits that operate out of Bowman to promote aviation. It's just a phenomenal thing. It's an honor for me, and I'm so proud that the Navy gave me the opportunity. Listen, I'm employed by UPS now, and I fly for UPS, but it's an honor for them to allow me to have this opportunity to do what I do now.
Remind me,
And-
you don't fly.
Oh, I do.
you
I
do?
flew. I learned to fly.
Oh,
I
you
grew up
said
next to
civilian.
Bowman Field. And that's
Okay.
kind of what the affinity was. I
Yeah.
was telling Caroline earlier. I smoked my first cigarette at Bowman Field. I kissed my first girl at Bowman Field. No guys, hush.
Yeah,
You joined the 20,000 foot
There we
club.
go. Exactly right.
We call that
Got engaged
the
over there.
mile high.
Here
What?
we go.
The mile high.
No,
well,
no.
does it actually get up? Well, it is tomorrow. Yeah.
If these guys fly, they'll get it up there. No, but Bowman Field's been special.
Timeout. Never just timeout, right?
Great sound
Let's go
bite.
back. Yeah,
Ground-
yeah.
Here we go.
No, that.
Yeah, I've been a pilot since 1985, 4, 5, 6, something like that. About the same time these guys.
The other thing too is that everybody that's involved with this loves this city, and being a
Exactly.
part of this type of activity to show our city. We don't get exposed to this as much as you do if you've got an active duty Air Force base or a naval air station or something. We have the 123rd at the airport, which is great, but they're kind of sequestered and they're always on the road since 9/11, like we talked about. But now here's a chance, like we said, we're going to bring young folks in here, right, from all over the city, and it is so cool
Not
to do an
just the
event like
city,
this.
too, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know, but we're being a little bit partial
Okay,
to our
all right.
hometown, right? So we love
Thank
Louisville, and
you.
it's a great thing to be able to share with the public and get them out. Look, you can go do the St. James Art Fair one day and come to Bowman Fest the next, or you can just do
Exactly.
Bowman Fest.
Is that this week or that week?
It
That's
is
the same week.
week.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could do Bowman Fest for 2 days in a row because we don't really care how you're dressed, right? That's all I'm saying. right?
Exactly.
You start cruising around down St. James Art Fair, people
Yeah,
are start
exactly.
judging.
That's a
You
good
got
point.
to come to us.
Not the diss.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to dress you. You come buy a T-shirt. Listen, I'm seeing Bowman Fest. I'm seeing Bowman Fest shirts all over, Bowman Field shirts all over, and it's just there's a lot going on there. And we're growing. When we get to the 100th, we'll have an actual air show. One of the most unusual things you were talking about earlier is we'll have over 12 airplanes, different variations that you can rent and go up and fly and have the opportunity to experience Bowman Field. You're going to get to touch these airplanes. You're going to get to talk to people. The other day, Pat and I were at a meeting and at Mission Barbecue, and there was a 101-year-old individual sitting there. There was another guy in his 90s who was on the islands when they did the atomic bomb testing.
Wow.
These gentlemen are going to be out here, and so the opportunity to mingle with some of these people, it's spectacular. And listen, Rob and I, we served in the Desert Storm. I'll tell you that the highlight for me for Bowman Fest last year was when we shut the gates and I had the opportunity to sit with the kids from the C-130 squadron. And I look at them as kids. I'm in my 50s now. These guys are in their 30s. Oh, my gosh. These kids are just like us. They're serving their country, and it's just an honor to be associated with them. We had a great experience. We just invite the public out to meet some of these people. It's an unbelievable
No,
experience.
it's very cool. Very cool. Definitely, it sounds like such a family
different.
friendly. Yeah,
It's
it's
different.
Yeah,
it's different. Some fun.
completely
Yeah, yeah.
family
Oh,
friendly.
And Pat, talk about the kids though. We
no
tickled
offense
this.
to a lot of the events that go on.
Yeah, we love it.
Every weekend there's been and I love I love music, but let's take a break.
We've talked,
right here. So
Last year, we were talking about how Louisville is such a festival city. I mean, there's always something going on. There's an event going on, and this is just another cog in the wheel. And it's hard. We have to pick a weekend that works weather-wise or whatever, because it's a lot of work to put all this together. So we try to pick the best weekend we can, and it works. But
do you all work hand in hand with the city on this?
You know, the city is still kind of watching us from a distance.
Really?
You know, their budgets are tight,
Really?
but the mayor supports us.
Yes,
and
it's hard to believe, isn't
hard
it?
to believe, yeah. But we're going to do it regardless. And
Actually, you say that, but
it's important to know that all the funding for this comes from private pockets, and we nickel and dime it. We don't have a big major sponsor. I mean, Humana Military steps up, and they do a good. They're a big sponsor for us.
so the city is not.
No, we don't.
I
get,
don't
it's
want to
hard
say
to
the city's
believe,
not.
isn't it?
You
No.
can't say the city's not. They're working on a shoestring budget as well, and they'll give us tables
So
and
we've
chairs.
heard. So
They'll
we've
give
heard.
us tables and chairs, and they'll help us.
Okay,
and
all right, okay, fair
we'll
enough.
use their police officers to help police the airplanes at night.
Yeah.
So we're getting some
On
support.
your dime.
Well, yeah,
We're-
we try to share the wealth
we're
as best we
sharing the
can.
wealth.
And you know, the Louisville Regional Airport Authority, we couldn't do it without them.
That's true.
They,
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
'Cause, that was.
Yeah.
Who was what's his, Anthony? That was-
Anthony,
that's
he was going to
his
make
fault.
it. He's
gonna-
under the weather
all right,
tonight,
right.
and he's got.
So,
We got
yeah,
a board meeting tomorrow, so he's cleaning up.
Tell us about what they are. how
Yeah,
they're-
the Louisville Regional Airport Authority is the authority that manages Stanford Field or Muhammad Ali International Field and Bowman Field. And they're the oversight of both airports, the operators. And they allow us, basically, give us the rights. They're the final say to allow us to do what we want to do over there. And, you know, we're pushing it a little bit because typically for the last, 15 years or so, they haven't been they haven't been approached to do an event like this other than the last 3 years. We hired a new executive director 2 years ago, Dan Mann, who took over for Skip Miller. Did a great job.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
Middle name
Dan the man. Well, it depends
The
on who you
man.
ask. Yeah,
Hey,
he's
he
the-
is
yeah,
the-
he is
he
the
is
man.
the man.
Dan the man.
Why
So,
wouldn't he be?
I thought it was A.
Dan a man. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If you look at, just today, they're bringing in money for Stanford Field. He's been an unbelievable.
Louisville International
for-
Muhammad Ali.
Exactly.
By the way.
Lumu International. That is
Lumu.
awesome.
Lumu. Turn left
And,
at Lumu.
Listen, I fly out of that airport. I fly out of that airport for a living with UPS, and it's an honor to have him recognize Bowman Field. And
Yeah.
I never really felt like, Bowman Field was kind of shrinking. It was shrinking, and it went.
Why?
I think aviation got so expensive. I think that was the biggest thing, and I think, our goal is to bring kids involved in aviation because, listen, people don't realize Kentucky, their number one industry is aviation.
No offense, guys.
No offense. It is expensive.
It's not a cheap hobby.
No, I know.
No. Yeah.
I know.
But you
What's
know
that?
what's interesting? The FAA now has programs. If a kid comes out and learns to fly, takes a couple lessons in the Young Eagles program, the FAA will pay for some of their training and their flight books
Absolutely.
and all this stuff, which is unheard of. I mean, when Jeff and I started to fly, you had to pay for everything. You cut grass and do what you got to do. But now they'll pay for it because there's a shortage of pilots and there's a shortage of all aircraft and all
it really
aviation jobs.
shortage of
Oh,
pilots?
shit,
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
It's
Really?
a bad issue. It's a
Absolutely.
bad deal.
Why is that the case?
Well, Jeff had talked to that with like UPS. What are you guys doing?
Listen, I don't want to give a number, but I would tell you that we're hundreds of pilots short.
Thousands.
And they're talking, we only have.
You're talking UPS
At
alone.
UPS alone, we have about just under 3,000 pilots. If you look at a United, Delta, American Airlines, they're at 10,000 pilots. I think they're 1,000 pilot shorts. They're looking at 10,000 pilot shortage in the next 5 years.
Wow.
And listen,
Why?
I think
Is
I
it
think it's
because
the
there's
age.
not enough
I
of
thi-
this to inspire?
There's not enough of it, and I think a lot of it happened in 2008 when the economy started to tank. The
Right.
fuel went up to $6 a gallon or better, and
It sucked having an SUV then.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
right.
bad having an airplane. A fuel cost for an airplane was $6. So, at one time, I was talking to one of the girls over at the Regional Airport Authority, and she said only 50% of the planes at Bowman were flying. And I think that number's gone up a little bit, but it's just so expensive for the fuel, and the planes, the price of the planes are going back up because now there's a shortage. Listen, we're short by a factor of hundreds, I would tell you, at UPS. And, the military short, they can't keep pilots enough. And, the bonus, my son just left the military, and the bonus for those guys, hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to keep them. There's just a terrible shortage of pilots. So, and listen, I love being at Bowman Field. The experimental aviation, the association there, they raised, the EAA, they raised, and they're funding. They've got a young lady that they're funding through her private pilots to get her license. the women in aviation are funding young ladies to get their mechanics license. We've had a young lady get her mechanics license, in Chelsea. Everybody knows Chelsea.
Yeah.
And, she's also got her private pilots.
Doing
And,
great.
they're scholarshiping kids in different ways that, they've scholarshiped them for their private, for their instrument rating, and for the multi-engine rating, for the complex rating, and then for their commercial rating. And then, UPS, you have to have an airline transport pilot rating, so you're looking at 1,500 hours. It takes a while to get there. So aviation is expensive game. And I love what we're doing at the field. UPS is helping us. They realize they have to be a part of the solution. And, Flight Club 502 we have out there, UPS has sponsored us for $25,000 in scholarships, and they were asking for 6 kids to solo, 1 kid for private. We're in line to do 10 kids to solo, and maybe 2 kids with their private pilots. With that $25,000, we're using their money responsibly. We're trying to help kids get in it, and they're doing it with people like myself. I've got 3 retired UPS guys out there that are just loving to be a part of aviation and give back to the community. So it's about giving back to the community. It's very expensive. We know these kids are going to help us in the future. We have to get them trained. We got to get them trained.
What's that song? The children are...
They are
our future.
Hey,
Yeah.
one of the things we were
Teach
talking
them
about
well.
earlier,
Exactly.
Pat was talking about, we have a kid zone. We're trying to reach out to everybody. When you walk through the kid zone is going to be pretty far out in the field. You're going to walk through a World War I encampment, a World War II encampment, a Vietnam encampment, a Korean encampment. It's crazy. You're going to see the way that people lived as you walk through to go get to the
That's
kid zones.
incredible.
And they're
How
going
are
to
you
spend the
pulling
night.
that off, though?
Those,
a lot of hard work.
those guys are reenactors.
They used to have
They're
hair.
going to show people how people live. I went over there in the morning on Sunday morning last year, and I'm going to do it this year. Those guys will feed me breakfast. I'll get coffee from a campfire, and I'll sit there and eat breakfast with them. And it's just an honor to be with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord.
We've got 2 tanks coming in this year.
Two
and
tanks.
If they give me the approval, we have some
You didn't
blanks.
have any tanks last year.
No, we got them this year.
No,
Though.
we-
We're going to
Say.
shoot some, and we're going to shoot the cannons off for the tanks. So if you hear, we're going to get
National anthem.
what
National
is
anthem.
Art Fair? Was it St. Joe's Art
St.
Fair?
James.
St. James. I'm sorry, St. James Art Fair. We're going to wake them up and say, "Come on over after that. Go buy your piece of artwork and come on over to Bowman and have a concert." Yeah,
Something out.
You
we're
know,
going to shoot a cannon. Why not?
I
The
didn't
hell?
know
You
if
got some-
I didn't
one.
know if we were going to talk about it or not, and I was just thinking about it. But we listen. I'm 56 years old, and I still have a few more years to fly at UPS.
Few being the
I used
operable
to
word.
get I used to get my Class 1 medical. I have to get a medical every six months. I used to get my Class 1 medical from a gentleman who flew in World War II, and he was on Bowman Field. And we have a special ceremony that
Yep.
we're going to do for Doc Schulteis, and listen,
that weekend, you're saying?
it's gonna,
At
we're
the
going to
event,
do
I
it
mean?
that weekend.
Okay.
I don't want to give away too
Yeah.
much of it, but listen, there's just so many things that are happening at this festival. It's truly special to Louisville. It's special to Bowman. And, our whole thing is to give back to Bowman Field. And, listen, Doc Schulteis gave me my physical, over 23, 24 years ago. And, it was an honor. It's an honor to get to know him. He flew over. I fly to Cologne, Germany, and, I've seen pictures on his wall of what Cologne, Germany looked like during World War II, and
They blew it up.
Unbelievable. And, Bowman Field is a special place. And, W.L. Paris, he's opened up the field we're going to be on his side of the field. And his father, without his father, this would have never happened. That gentleman, I feel a special bond to his father. We were both naval aviators. And he trained a lot of people, for World War II. The Waco glider was being towed around Bowman Field. We actually have one.
Yeah.
We actually have one that we're not prepared to show it, but we will probably show it for the 100th.
Yeah.
And
Put it all together.
Bowman Field is a special place.
And too, one of the things that Jeff alluded to earlier is that we're all a volunteer organization. We don't make any money on this by far. So anybody else that's active out there hears this, wants to listen, and would like to participate, go out to BowmanFest.com and get involved, and because we take all kinds of, from young kids all the way up to old people, and to share the message and share the the burden that it takes to put this on. It's a good burden because we like doing it, but it takes a team of volunteers.
Clearly, what I get out of this is the passion.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
I mean,
Shit.
that alone.
If you have so much passion.
Exactly. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
how can you not fucking root for these guys?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they're,
yeah.
They're,
It's ours to lose.
yeah. I have to. I'm gonna deviate just a little bit.
Okay.
I do a different podcast. It's in a different kind of genre field. Hear me out. Last week, the Navy admitted to these UAPs, these unidentified aerial phenomena.
Oh yeah.
What's your take on that? Because let me know that there's the radar video of 2004 and then 2015 that came out. Someone acknowledged that these are quote unquote UFOs, unidentified flying objects,
Right.
not necessarily alien, but UAPs. And then the Navy acknowledged that these were legit, but they shouldn't have come out. But you're not saying ETs or anything like
Right.
that. You've been flying in the skies. Do you give me a UFO story? Because I know you have
He's
to.
got to
have
stay
Oh,
employed.
yeah.
He's got to stay employed though.
Well,
you know.
it's-
This is my.
or better yet, if you can't tell a story, it's because
No.
all right.
I don't. You know, there's so many phenomenons out there that we don't understand, and I think one of the greatest mysteries that I would tell you is, you know, I had an opportunity on the 100th anniversary of flight. I was over China in an MD-11 doing, you know, Mach 0.84 in my sweatsuit, you know, because I was casual. You know, we put it on. We were on a 10-hour, 12-hour flight, and you know, I was looking up at the stars one day, and I'm like, how can you think we're the only ones? You know,
No, of
and I'm
course,
like, there's
yeah.
so much stuff up there, and I'm like, it's so small. Listen, I've flown all over the world, and you know, in 100 years, you know, I happened to go from whatever Orville, you know, flew
Yeah.
from a bicycle,
Pole to
started
what all
out
this
as
is,
a
yeah.
bicycle, and
Yeah.
became an airplane to what I was in, which is air conditioned and had a you know a kitchen in it and a bunk room and very comfortable. And I'm like, I just, you know, yeah, of course, I think there could be stuff out there. I think you're naive. You're naive to
What do you
think that
think?
we're the only ones.
No,
And
we're not alone. I get
we're not
that.
alone.
Yeah.
Now listen,
But I'm going with that with the technology because
my thing that I would tell you is, listen, during Desert Storm.
Are you saying you have seen something or you
Okay,
haven't?
I'll tell you my UFO story,
Okay.
and there's always an explanation.
All right.
And during Desert Storm 1, you know, listen, I was scared. You know, I'm a young lieutenant, and I'm flying off my skipper's wing, and you know, when you get scared, you know, you push the power up a little bit. So I'm burning through gas faster than I should have. And you know, I'm flying an F-14. I didn't know what to do, and I'm like, okay, and now I'm in trouble. I'm not going to make it back to the carrier. I'm going to the tanker. Well, we weren't allowed to go to the tankers during certain periods of time, and I'm like, screw it, I'm going to the tanker. I know they're there. You know, there was gas all over Iraq, and I'm like, I'm going to the tanker. So I get to the tanker, and I'm like, they're yelling at me to not go to the tanker. They black the tanker out. I see him, you know, I get a radar lock on him. I join up on him, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be on the tanker. And I'm like, as soon as I join up on the tanker, I see this thing under it. I didn't know what it was, and it was angular shaped. It looked like Buck Rogers. I had no idea. The only thing that gave me a warm and fuzzy is it said U.S. Air Force on it, and it was an F-117.
Okay.
And I didn't know what an F-117.
Stealth fighter.
We didn't
It's stealth
know.
fighter.
It was the stealth fighter.
Yeah.
We didn't know in 1991 what a stealth fighter was.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, oh my God. Okay, so I think there's probably an explanation for a lot of things, what we see, and maybe they haven't released it to everybody. This is what happened to me in 93,
All right,
94,
fair enough.
95. They started releasing that we had those things flying at night, and they flew in Desert Storm 1. So, you know, there's probably an explanation
But
for it.
like what they showed though, with no wings, no
Like,
really no.
I'll tell you what.
Propulsion.
I would tell you when I saw that stealth fighter, it looked like Buck Rogers to
It
me.
is, okay.
And nobody knew it existed. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. When they landed, they pulled my tapes.
Really?
They took our
Okay.
pictures. They made us sign a waiver. And I'm like, okay, this was an F-117. So, listen, I know there's talk about an Aurora. You know, listen, we can talk about, you know, what kind of propulsion they would use. You know, whether they're dumping fuel on the outside of the airplane to get fuel, you know, with a scramjet. That's
Yeah.
called a scramjet.
Okay.
And I think that technology exists. They've tested it. I think I think it's very plausible that we could have something that does hypersonic speeds that that we don't know about.
Okay.
So
What would you do if they came down here and did one of your podcasts?
Well, I do a UFO only podcast.
all I-
Why don't you? But I'll call All Points Bulletin out to
Hey,
the UFOs come
all,
out here.
all I could tell you is
I'm hoping that in my lifetime that true confirmation
Definitive
happens.
truth.
Something
yeah,
happens.
definitive.
Well,
And I think we're
Understand?
close.
Listen,
I really
we
think
are.
we're close.
I think.
Yeah.
Listen. I think that. I think that America is an unbelievable place, and I think we probably have the technology that creates some unbelievable things that you and I probably don't know about.
But
You know,
where
if
did some of that
it's
technology
so-
come from? What kickstarted
It's
it?
so big.
I think the free market economy kicked it.
Yeah, but come on. The technology boom that happens.
So are you
around
hinting at
90
reverse engineering?
All that
Alien?
shit.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, just checking.
I mean, think
Hey, let
about
me-
it.
I got a
From
question for you.
19 In the
I don't
last
know.
60, 70 years, think about how much we've advanced prior to
Oh,
600 years.
Yeah.
Well, think about this on scale. There's more stars in our universe or in our galaxy,
Galaxy,
all right,
yeah, yeah.
than there are grains of sand.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you walked out to an ocean somewhere, just on a beach, what's your favorite beach?
Right. It's honestly somewhere in Florida.
Okay, Florida. Let's say in Panama City,
Yeah.
and you had a cup, a red Solo cup, and you walked out and you scooped up
up.
some water in the Solo cup, and you looked in there and said, "Oh, there's no fish in here. There must not be any life in the sea."
Yeah.
Okay.
Great analogy.
So when
Great
you look up to
analogy.
the stars in the heavens, and I believe in a God, and it put us all here. So yeah, there's definitely life out there.
Yeah, we
you
just
know?
can't. Yeah.
Hey,
I look forward to being on your podcast when you have them down here. We'll all
all I-
talk about
hey,
it.
all I-
Bowman Fest 2050.
All I would tell you is if something does exist, I could freaking fly it. There's
oh,
no doubt
here we
about
go.
it.
Oh, hey, greatest aviator
now
right
you're-
here.
World's greatest
now you're
aviator.
showing
So,
off.
you know,
Now
listen,
you're showing off.
strap it on.
All
I
right.
would go fly it, and I wouldn't even
let's-
think twice.
You always bring it to a close
Yeah.
with the aliens,
Yeah,
which is
we'll
awesome.
Take it home, guys. It's Bowman Fest, Aviation and Military Heritage Festival, October 5th and 6th. Opens at 10 a.m., right? Till
Yeah,
10
we
to
have a
6.
run at 8:30, a 5K
Yeah.
on the runway
On Saturday.
on Saturday, and then the air portion starts at 10 a.m.
So running on Saturday, and then probably walk people who
and then walk
because
around,
of
right.
the event Saturday, they can only walk.
Drink a
on Sunday.
beer, have a Kentucky Bloody Mary.
They're
and-
hungover. No
yeah.
running on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Bloody
so
Kentucky.
Bloody Kentucky.
Bloody
And then
Kentucky.
Sunday, 10 to 5. So, yeah. So, come on out.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you for having us.
let's-
Appreciate it.
having us.
And I can't wait to do this one next year because
Oh.
next year is going to be.
Hey,
better.
We'll be
Oh,
on
my
site next year.
Yeah.
We'll have you up in the tower.
Yeah,
How about
we,
that?
We need to figure that out.
We'll do it.
Yeah,
We'd
so,
love to have you.
Good stuff, guys.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thanks, Kevin.